Hi, Susan here. Okay, after spending a week on Instagram trying to sell off some of my 40 years of designs of my career, I realized some of this stuff needs to be stored. So I'm going to show you the right way and the wrong way to store vintage and exclusively silk and delicate pieces, and all of that's next. Also quickly, just to note some of the bad things or the wrong things that I did and some of the good things that you need to do as far as storing goes. So like I said, I have 40 years of designs. I have moved many times, and I also did not have the storage in my own home. So I consequently was storing a lot of my pieces at my mother's house, and it was in a part of the house that was not air conditioned. So it would have been just as bad as having it in my garage. So it was a real big mistake. Also, using plastic to put on any of the garments is an absolute no-no. I did have a couple of these, what they're called salesman bag. They are made out of fabric. They have a special bar on top. They require special hangers. And most of my pieces were just in that. And the good thing about that is that it gives it an ability to not crush the garment, also gives breathability to the garment, but it still will not save some of the very delicate silk pieces that I had, including some of the silk tulle that I'll talk about later in this video. So it is very important to store it in such a way that you know they're going to be okay. And let's get started with that. Okay, so I have 3 bins here, and I told myself I wasn't allowed to use more than the 3 bins. I also have some couture long dresses that have structure to it, so let's see if it'll happen. I also went to the dollar store. Where else can I get tons and tons of tissue paper? So I got some brown paper and an enormous amount of white tissue paper, some boxes on some of the ones that might need to be boxed, and a black marker to identify what's in these bins. These bins I had in the garage. I cleaned them, washed them out, let them dry, and now we're going to address it. I've taken some of my oak tag here, and I've cut a shape of the bottom of the bin like that. I want paper everywhere near garments, not plastic. And I'm going to line the entire bin almost like a wrapping item, like I'm wrapping a box or whatever. I'm going to put it all the way on the bottom like that, with excess on this side and excess on this side. And I'm cutting that. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction and do the same. Like that. So this baby is completely lined in white paper. And I'm going to cut that like that. So now I'm ready to put my pieces in here. Some of these pieces are extremely fragile. This, for instance, is Silk Illusion from 2007. And this illusion, just so you guys get a perspective, is $100 a yard. Just for this silk illusion. This is not the $1.29 at Joann Fabrics. And there's probably 5 to 6 yards of illusion for this dress alone. So this is an expensive dress, and it's completely lined in silk. This wasn't technically worn, but just to give you an idea, I have come across some disasters, and I should know better. If you wear something at an event, you're going to perspire. whether you spill wine or any other beverage or food on your clothing, that's beside the point. The invisible stain is usually perspiration, and I've been working on this to try to clean it because the entire top half of this beaded piece was stained from perspiration. So do not allow garments that you've had for many, many years to sit in your closet or sit anywhere thinking, well, I didn't spill anything on it. There's perspiration on it for the least. And so that's been the number one problem or number one issue that I'm noticing, besides, of course, beads that are falling and other items like that. I'm not Andrew Bolden from the Met Gala, but I've learned a few things and I'm going to try to apply it and teach you kind of fast and easy ways of storing important pieces. Step number one is cleaning and lining your bins, whether it's a cardboard box or a plastic bin. Step number two, the heavier pieces are going to go to the bottom and light to the lightest piece on top. Storing a jacket, usually every time I store a jacket, I always sort of take the jacket and I turn it inside out. This was a leather. This was actually when I was still in school. This was a second semester project, I think. And so it's all leather. It's actually been worn many, many years by my mother. This was a piece that she enjoyed, but I wanted to keep it and keep it safe. So I'm going to keep it, if I turn it inside out like this, I think that I will crease it and the leather will stick upon the leather. So I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to start with my tissue. I'm going to take my tissue, and you might see this from dry cleaners. These are methods that dry cleaners use as well. And I'm going to actually stuff the sleeve. And I'm going to take one tissue at a time and just stuff it like that. I'm just taking it like this. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just stuffing inside the sleeve like that. I'm going to stuff a little bit around the collar. I want to gently lay this inside. Where it's going to need the least amount of creasing. Leather, vinyl, anything like that is going to stick onto itself with any kind of moisture. So in between that, I'm going to put tissue above it like that. I'm going to fold the sleeves onto themselves. Like that. And I'm going to just tissue it to death. I'm just putting massive amount of tissue There's the first one. This is around the same era, and this was a very important piece of mine. And this is all silk satin. This is the underskirt, and this is all studded leather, guys. I tried already to clean it as much as I could out there, and I'm not going to bother so much with it anymore. And I'm going to take the piece, fill it up inside so it doesn't stick onto itself. No tape, no bandit, no strings. I just want tissue. That's it, guys. And I'm going to cover the whole top part of the bodice in tissue. Now I feel comfortable putting this in like that. And let's continue. So now I'm towards the top. You can see it's almost finished. And I'm going to put some of the lightest pieces on top and then start over with another bin. The first thing I'm doing, and all throughout this time, is I'm protecting the necklines and the armholes, and I'm putting tissue around the neckline, as well as the armholes. Pushing in upon itself. This is an antique piece of fabric when I did it, and it's already antique when it was done. So some of this fabric is very, very fragile. And I'm going to protect the hem, and then I'm going to turn it up. Okay, everything is white in here, and it is protected. And what I'm going to do then is, when I'm ready, if I can fit anything else in here, I don't know. But then I'm just going to fold over each one of these pieces like I would, if I was wrapping a gift or wrapping something. So that's going to be folded over. That's going to be folded over. So the whole item, all the items are tucked away inside of that. The only thing that's plastic is the outside bin. And then I can put the tops on it and seal it, and then also mark it. I'm going to continue doing this. You know that silk illusion dress that I showed you in the beginning? I've decided I'm going to put this in its own box. So I completely encased it in tissue. I have the box, and I'm going to put it in there because I think it should not either be on the top of something or in its own little section so that it is stored properly. As you can see, oxygen and plastic and other items can also make that silk illusion turn brown like this did. I'm going to save this because it is an important piece. If it ever has to be showcased again, it can just be redone on the skirt like any other exhibit type piece. Not that I would ever be exhibited, but who knows, right? So I have it in this box here like this. And if it's like an important piece like this, they're going to be in a separate box. And let me continue. Okay guys, so I think that I have a good representation of my 40 years of career in these two bins. And I still have one more bin of the long couture pieces that I'll have to think about. What's left on the rack, I'm going to go through and either wear or donate. And I just wanted to show you that also I put brighter pieces or colored pieces on top like this so that it is not with some of the lighter silks, and the box is fitting in here just right for this one. And I can close this guy up. I simply put this in a box as well because this was an important hat, and once you crush velvet, it's pretty much impossible to uncrush it. But I'm satisfied that I think I have a good representation of important pieces, and I have them stored away where I can feel good about them now in these bins and not touch them for whatever. So I hope that helped you learn or understand the importance of storing properly and some tricks about storing items for you if you have some vintage pieces or collector type pieces that you want to keep safe. And if you love this video, give it a thumbs up. Come on board and subscribe. I have everything about fashion design on my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.